Nau mai haere mai e te whānau. Welcome to the Fight of the Next podcast. My name's Holly. I'm on Gadigal land in Sydney, as is Danny. Erin is in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. No Alex tonight. He is playing futsal. So good luck, Alex. We have two games to talk about. This was supposed to be a double header, as we mentioned last week, but was split. We'll start with the women. So this was actually, both of these games were sweltering. It was crazy hot here on the weekend. The women kicked off at 5, and there was a little bit of discussion I saw online about why did the Western Sydney Wanderers women game get totally postponed when we only kicked off 20 minutes later. It's always 3 or 4 degrees hotter in the west than it is further in the east. Like our oval was nice and open, and there was a breeze coming off the harbour. In saying that, it was still very, very hot, even in the shade in the stand. So I don't know how the players did it. They did have 2 drinks breaks per half, which was good to see. We really need points at this point if we want to make finals. We were sort of targeting this, considering Sydney's form. However, Casper's in stoppage time of the first half, Elliott in the 74th minute to bring us level, Abini in the 90 plus 8th minute. I actually think that we were much better in the second half. I think we were the better team over the course of the game. It's really frustrating. When we scored, I felt like, okay, we can do this. It's like last week. We can do this. We can do this. We've scored a goal. We've pulled even. Let's get in and win this game. Unfortunately, Jaber got sent off for a second yellow card. The first one, I didn't see it, but apparently she wanted to retrieve the ball to do a throw-in, and the Sydney bench keeper was holding the ball away from her. She gave her a bit of a shove, copped a yellow for that. And then in the 85th minute, she put up a tackle that I think would have been fair enough for a yellow card. The ref was very inconsistent, which I think is deeply frustrating. I think this has dropped points for us. Once T got sent off, I was thinking, okay, we'll take a draw. Not to be. Danny, what was your impression?
I thought this was a real heartbreaking result in terms of losing it so late. The latest goal ever scored, I think, in the Ninja A-League, apparently, 98 point something minutes. Because the performance was excellent. Performance was really good, and we weren't just the slightly better side over the 90 minutes. We were by far the better side over the 90 minutes. Sydney were not in it at all. This was a complete robbery. It was it's a mirror image, and we'll talk about the men's game later, but it was a bit of a mirror image of that. We were the better side. I thought we played really well. I can't really criticize any of our team. The amount of energy they put in, again, on a stupidly hot day, to push forward and to continue attacking was excellent. And I thought we played really well. And we were let down by our finishing again. We had a number of chances. We didn't put them away. Their goalkeeper, their 4th or 5th, they've tried this season. Maybe they'll stick with this one because she had a very good game. And we didn't put the chances away. And that came to bite us. I think they had 2 chances. 2 chances, and they scored from both of them. Both at really difficult times as well, just before half time and then right at the end. So we had no chance of coming back. And it's all really hit our chances of making the 6. I was absolutely gutted after this. When it sort of settles down, looking back at the performance, I thought we played really well. And I thought all the teams were well. I thought Elliott was superb. I thought it was easily her best game that she's played for the Knicks. And I think she had 4 or 5 shots. She can really hit the ball properly. She hits it cleaner, I think, than pretty much anyone else. And her strength in the tackle and her combination down the right-hand side on the left-hand side with Laura Wall was really good, really gave us a lot of going forward. I just thought we played really well. So to get nothing out of it was just so disappointing. It must be really demoralizing for the players because they'll have to think, well, what do we have to do? To win, because if we don't make the finals, we're just going to forget the performances and we'll just say, oh, this team just wasn't good enough again. I don't think really that's the case. We're just missing, again, probably that clinical goal scorer to put those chances away, and we would be fairly comfortable, I think, in the 6 if we were there. So, yeah, really, really angry after this one, I think. Not at anyone in particular, just at the football gods, I guess.
Okay, but if you have to have your 2 drinks break and a half, then it's probably too hot. And, since they've moved the men's game and they moved the venue, they probably could have pushed it back a bit. There wasn't a double header anymore. It was a standalone game on a Saturday night in a new venue, set up with a different time, played a little bit later, and maybe, it would have been a different result, because if we didn't have those 2 drinks breaks, we wouldn't have had that extra time, and they wouldn't have scored both of their goals, and we would have won and would have been in the top 6 and would make finals and would win the trophy. So, but ultimately, yeah, I think a real frustrating game to watch. I think, seeing our chances and us not scoring from them was kind of one of those things where you're like, oh, we know how this game is going to go. Sydney are just going to get to, a jammy goal and beat us. And that's kind of what happened. I think their first goal just was fortunate. I think it just was like, I don't know if it was like the perfect cross, but it just managed to land exactly where it needed to be. And then somehow Jaber trips over, and then everyone's in just a bit of an awkward position so that the shot goes away. But yeah, I don't really think that there was much else we could have really done, except for, maybe score the goals. But we had our chances. We hit the post. But we also made, I think Jasmine Black is her name, we also made her look like the world's best keeper by shooting it right at her. The one, we were shooting it right in the range of her hands, which is where a keeper's, going to save us. Pretty routine stuff. I think the one that we scored went right through her legs. So, maybe they should have been shooting it a bit lower, a bit more to the sides, rather than trying to hit it right in the middle of the goal. But yeah, I think this is going to come back and bite us. And, no Tiana Jaber next week, which we wouldn't have had anyway, even if she had 1 yellow, because actually it reset. So she would have been fine if she had the 1 yellow, because she would have had her 5 yellows, but now it's 8 is the threshold. But we're missing her for next game, so hopefully Mac is back into the action. Hopefully her injury is healed. Otherwise, I think our backline's going to probably be a bit chaotic next week. But yeah, we need to be getting these points, and now we're kind of in the position now where we have to win almost everything going forward. We did have some fortunate results go our way from the other games. We had Perth managing to draw, I think, against Central Coast. Off the top of my head, my notes are all gone, but so that's kind of good for us. We had Brisbane Roar not play, or lose points. I should have written this down. It's completely lost now, but I think a lot of the results went our way to try to keep it still tight. Canberra lost as well, so if we win our next few games, then we still have a good chance of making top 6. But we've put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do it now.
Yeah, it was interesting looking at the stats, because usually we're the team that has the not so positive side of the stats, but managed to try and get something, whereas it's really the other way around. 41 to Sydney, 59 to us. Shots, 9 to 19. We took almost twice as many shots as Sydney did, and shots on target, 2 to 9. I mean, they scored from both of their shots. It is true that the keeper did have a good match, which is unfortunate for us. Again, it's got to be that finishing.
Yeah, apart from the finishing, we played really well. We were tight at the back. We passed it around. We were strong in the centre. We were winning all the 50-50s. And we were getting up the sides really well. I thought Laura Wall and Elliot played really well together. And Main on the far right as well was pretty good. She can put a good cross in. And Ferguson around up top, as she always did. So I couldn't really criticise many people. But we just don't score the goals. And that's where we're going to lose out. And as I say, now we have to win. I think we've got 4 games left. I think realistically we've got to win 3 of them. We can possibly afford to lose to Melbourne City if we win the other 3, because we're also playing Canberra and Central Coast, who are sort of the other 2 teams vying for last place or last couple of places in the 6. So if we beat those, that takes 3 points off them. So maybe we can still do it. But we can't afford now to sit back. We've got to push forward, which means losing Jaber, I think, is going to be difficult, because normally we go, okay, we'll put McCutcheon in the back line and she'll do well. But I think we need McCutcheon in the middle. One, to push up, but also to basically free up space for Longo to go forward because she's such an important part of our attack. In the second half, she was just magnificent. She just got the ball and just ran at them, and she just beats them every time. I thought Jale coming on was positive because, again, when she's, I won't say in the mood for it, that sounds like she chooses it, but when she's on, she's unplayable, and again, she can just go past people at will and attack, which we were doing at the end there against Sydney. So, look, it's not over yet because the results have gone our way. We're only 2 points off the 6, I think, so it can still happen, but we just can't afford to waste as many chances as we have. If we make chances, we have to score them. I'm not totally sure how we do that. We've still got the same players, but we're just going to have to be positive and push forward at every opportunity.
We had a lot of fun as well on the weekend. So on Reddit, there was someone who's a Sydney FC fan said that they were at the game, and they have to say that that was one of the most away support I've ever seen for a team at any of our home games. Really cool to see. We got real noisy, especially when the goal went in. I think we had a fantastic little gaggle of fans. Next up, and speaking of expected good gaggle of fans, at Porirua Park, Saturday 4 p.m. New Zealand time versus Mariners. This is a massive 6-pointer. Mariners on 25 points. We're on 23. They are 6th and we are 8th. So we can pass them. We can pass them if we win this. They have been not great lately. I feel like they've been underperforming. I don't know why. I haven't been watching their games that well, but Perth managed to get a draw with them, which was good for us. How are we feeling about Mariners?
I mean, we can beat them. I don't have any issues with this side in terms of being better than most of the teams there, apart from maybe your Melbourne teams up at the top. We're as good as anybody else. So we play our game, we play well, we can beat them. We just got to score the goals. We're at Porirua, we do well at Porirua. So, look, I'm fairly optimistic. But again, you can play very well and you can lose. A bit of luck, a dodgy reffing decision, and it can all go that way. And we've not left ourselves with any margin of error now, so we have to win. Still optimistic, still positive, because again, the game we played, I thought was excellent. We played really well. I hope it hasn't hit morale too badly, and I hope there's still the belief there. That's up to Paul Temple, I guess, to make sure that that's still there in the playing group. After the disappointment, hopefully they can pick themselves up and see what they did well. Because again, I thought they played really well. And if we do that, then yeah, we can beat them.
Central Coast are quite a scrappy team, and sometimes we can match that quite well, and then sometimes it makes us lose the plot a little bit. So hopefully we can match it and almost outmuscle them and frustrate them first before they frustrate us. And I think that we'll be able to take something from it. And a win will be good for us. It can push us up into 5th above Central Coast and above Brisbane Roar. So we really need a win here, and hopefully Porirua Park's the place to do it.
We'll move on to the men's game now. I have to cop to the fact that I was pretty cynical about our chances for this game. Pre-match, I was sort of saying, how much are we going to lose by? Actually, we turned on a pretty good performance. Again, it was hot. I don't know why there were no drinks breaks in this game. It was hotter, I feel, than it was on Saturday. And also Allianz, because it's a large stadium, the air doesn't circulate through. So you didn't get that breeze that was starting to come through like you did at Leichhardt. It was sweltering and no drinks breaks. We got a 1-1 draw. 7th minute, Segicic, understandably doing the call me celebration because he is on fire, but not called up to the Socceroos. Costa, 38th minute, Chico plays this beautiful ball, beautiful through ball. Costa runs onto it, takes a touch around the keeper, puts it in the back of the net. The flag goes up. Thank you for VAR, because it was ruled onside, and so we get to have a really good celebration. The XG was 122 to 0.75, shots 21-4, on target 7-1. possession, 72-28. We were the underdogs for this game. We did not dominate this game. Thankfully, Josh Aloemi had some fantastic saves, really fantastic saves. That's the first time he's played for a while because Albie was injured. I have to say there were about 5 times where from goal kicks or for punting, he kicked it straight out. That was quite frustrating to watch. But otherwise, what a result. When the lads came over to say hello after the game, Alex walked up and he said it was about time we gave you guys a result. So it had been coming and fantastic. Danny, I'll start with you again because you were also there.
Look, I was as cynical as you basically going to this match. I did not expect to get anything out of it. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it. It was 35 degrees. You were sweating if you as much as blinked. So it wasn't, probably the most pleasant atmosphere to watch a game in. And when the team list came out and we had 8 defensive players and then just Chico and Barbaros at the front, it was like, okay, well, we know what's going to happen here. We're going to sit back in 2 lines and we're going to defend. And, at best, they'll win 1-0 and we all have had 1 shot on target and that's it. And it's not going to be very enjoyable. That's what I was expecting. It's not what we've got, which is a big surprise, I have to say. And very pleasant surprise as well. So we completely changed the way we played. Yes, we had the 8 defensive people back, but we didn't play out from the back at all. I think chiefly is either because Oluwani had to play because Alfie was injured, and he doesn't trust Oluwani playing out from the back, or he's been actually watching our games and realised that when we do play out from the back, nothing actually happens. Even if we get past their press, it goes to midfield and it comes back again, so we don't actually get anywhere with it. So he switched it around and he picked Lucas Kelly-Heel to play left midfield, which was, again, a huge surprise for everyone, but I thought it did actually really well. And then from goal kicks, we were just kicking it long to about the halfway line, aiming for Lucas Kelly-Heel and hoping that either he gets a nod down to one of our players or someone gets a nod down or the wall just comes loose and maybe we pick up a second ball. And then maybe we get 50% chance of actually having a ball somewhere near the halfway line rather than just having all the possession down in our half. And it worked. We played the game much further up the pitch than we have done for a long time. Now, it wasn't clean possession and it wasn't particularly great possession that we played it ourselves up that way. But at least, we were keeping them away from our goal a little bit. They started very well, and obviously they've got some really class players. And I have to say, when they scored that goal early on, I was like, yeah, okay, this could get very, very messy. And I immediately started thinking of the 7-2 Del Piero game, which I watched from, I think, almost exactly the same seat. And just watching the goals in, and I thought this could happen, but we didn't. We got it together, and we started winning those balls that we put long when Josh could actually keep them on the pitch. And, we competed really well. Yes, they were a lot better than us, and they were shooting on sight. From distance a lot of the time. I think probably they'd seen that Oluwani needed a goal, and they thought, well, nervous goalkeeper, let's just pepper him with shots. And they hit a few at us. None of them really were on target. And apart from that goal, they didn't have that many close chances really in that half. And we didn't have a lot either, to be honest. Again, we were relying on the skill and trickery of Chico, and then balls beyond their back line. Barbaros is sitting on the shoulder trying to get on the balls there, which he did on a couple of occasions, one of them which was the goal, which was immediately flagged as offside. Not many people in the away end saw it, so we were celebrating quite a while before it was like, oh, no, why are the players not celebrating? Oh, that's right, offside. And then we did celebrate. The AR came back and decided it was a goal after all. Costa got caught 3 or 4 more times in that match, offside, where it was probably just as close. The stats, when you see we only had 3 shots on target, we did, but we probably had 4 chances, which were very good chances, but we just got called back for offside. So it doesn't quite give a rounded view of the game, which, to be honest, was a lot closer than you might think. Yeah, Sydney were a lot better, absolutely, and they had clearer chances, but we had more of the ball going forward than we've had for a long time. And partly that was, I'd say, the new tactics we had of basically just playing along and just trying to get the ball higher up the pitch to start with. But also, we worked really hard. A lot of those players were getting stuck in. Sheridan in the back line looked so much more comfortable than he does when he's in the field. Lucas Kelly-Heel, as I said, was good. I still think he's better with his feet than his head, despite being 12 foot tall. And Retre worked hard as well. We don't have a lot good to say about Retre. Not many people do, but he actually worked really hard in midfield. And I thought he took some responsibility and did quite well. So it was a really good all-round team performance. We were hanging on, absolutely. And yes, we were, at the end, we were wasting time, which Ufuk Talle's come out and had a real go at. But, why wouldn't you? The Sydney women did it exactly the same in their match the day before. As I said, this was very much a mirror image of the games, apart from us not scoring in the 98th minute. And we deserved the point. Absolutely, I think we deserved the point. And I think I'm really hoping that will be good for the team in terms of a bit of morale to say, okay, look, we can compete with these better teams. We've got a few games left. Let's see what we can do going forward now. So, look, pleasantly surprised with the whole thing. Really quite enjoyed it.
I think another interesting stat is the Sydney 570 accurate passes to our 173. So I think that's us not trying to play out the back and kind of just sending it up a little bit more and a couple passes and attacking the goal. And then, we didn't have a lot of the share of a possession, so we're not passing it around too much. But I think that, one shot on target, one goal, it's pretty good to get a goal from that. And the 6 offsides as well. I think there was one where Chico was, there was a ball that went across to him out on the wing, and he was pretty much on his own running in, and they called him for offside. When it probably would have been pretty close. I feel like sometimes they let it play on and then see what happens, but they let him do the whole run, get the ball, and then they called him for offside. And I'm like, that's a bit rough in the heat if you're going to be calling it early anyway. So, but I think the Chico and Costa link up is coming along quite nicely. They had quite a few good little plays together with each other, and I think if you had Rojas or someone else in there, then it would be kind of the perfect setup. But unfortunately, he somehow got injured again in training, along with Albie, who got injured in training. So I don't know what they're doing at their training sessions, but I don't know, maybe they need to just tone it back a little bit, because it's probably doing more harm than good at the moment. But getting a point, missed seeing points. It's been a while, and so I think doing it against Sydney FC is always a good show, and hopefully moving forward we can just get a few more.
To me, it seemed like it's a real old-fashioned Phoenix versus Sydney game. I mean, I've probably been to Phoenix Sydney game more than any other game that I've been to, and it really took me back to the days of Ricky Herbert and Numeric time, when basically we knew we weren't quite as good as them. We just really weren't. But we had a team that fought and made the best of our chances, and it really just felt like that. We haven't had that for a few years. We've had teams that have been competitive. We've tried to outplay other teams, which has been great. And a lot of people who are saying this is the worst Phoenix team ever, I think I've got pretty short memories, to be honest. So it was like an old school match. We should have been wearing an old school strip, I think, but we fought really hard and we got the point, and I think we deserved the point in the end. Chiefy said we won it, pushing it a little bit, but deserved the point. If we can play like that against other teams, we will pick up some more points, especially at home as well. I think our next game against Wanderers at home, and if we play with that kind of pragmatic sense in terms of, okay, we won't try and pass it all over the pitch, we're just going to try and get the ball when we can, then we can easily beat other teams. We can get more than a point.
I think there was some 2 moments in this match which stood up to me, and one was one of the corners that Sydney took, and they had one of their players pretty much on the goal line, just being in the way of Josh Uluwayumi, and the ball comes in, they get a header on it, and he basically does a goal line save by standing on the goal line and being in the way, and it bounces off him, and he stops Sydney from getting another goal. I thought that was quite funny. It's like the consequences of him being a pest, really. And I think the other one was the on-field microphone for the VAR call, and the ref announces that the player number 9 was in an onside position, and that's Ishige sitting on the bench. So that's a good moment. I don't know if you guys could hear the mic in the stand, but that's quite funny that our player was onside and he's not even on the field.
You could hear the microphone, but it was pretty muffled. So he said the player was, and he said I could hear side on or off, on or off. Come on, be clear about this. Just I prefer him just to point to the spot or point to the goal. To be honest, it would be just as good. But yeah, it was a long wait for that to happen. I have to say.
Yeah, it's hearing the refs is a little bit hard. There's been a lot of complaints about that. I like the idea, and Alex talked about this the other week as well, that he likes it in concept, but you often can't hear them very well. I think it's just stadiums are really big, and they do wear mics, but they have to wear mics that are very light and very, I imagine, basic. And so I kind of figure that the actual equipment that they're using isn't conducive to like a really high quality output to be heard across an enormous stadium. So yeah, it was a little bit unsure, but man, we went nuts when it did, because it was one of those low expectations being massively exceeded. I really enjoyed that their front three really didn't play that well. So Klimala was off target. Lolly was trying to smash them from really far out. Like, a lot of their shots were actually from outside the box. I also really enjoyed that we repeatedly chanted that we've got the best Costa in the league. So because Douglas Costa was also not great. So I think we were quite fortunate there.
I think that the fact that we forced them to bring on Costa, I think shows how much we were really testing them. I don't think there's any way they would want to play Douglas Costa unless they had to. He had a game midweek where he was absolutely superb, but he's also very old, and I don't think he's fit enough really to play 2 games a week. And I don't think Tale would want to play him if he didn't have to. The fact he brought him on at half time shows that Tale was like, okay, we're going to have to really get on our game to beat this team, and they didn't. And Tale was absolutely livid, which is great. I mean, he's always livid, he's always shouting, and he got booked. But the fact that we were frustrating them so much was really good to see.
So can I point out just how good of a round of football we just had? We had 34 or so goals in the A-Leagues men. We've had 26 or so this round in the A-League women's. It's just been such entertaining to follow the scores and to watch the games happen. So, greatest league in the world.
Absolutely, they're the greatest leagues in the world. Let's have a chat about. We'll start with the next men's match, which is on the 29th of March, that's international break. We'll have a chat about the All Whites as well. That is versus Wanderers at Sky Stadium. So BK will have been coming home. Also, Josh Laws, I believe, was signed by them as well. So that is 5 p.m. New Zealand time, Saturday the 29th of March. Wanderers are still an excellent team. They beat Victory 4-2. They have perhaps the best front 3 or 4 in the entire league. Absolutely on fire. But I think after the match that we had yesterday, if we really get stuck in like we did, who knows?
Yeah, I think we can get a result out of it. What that result is, I don't know. But again, if we play with the positivity that we did and the defensive, strength that we had, there's no reason why we can get a point or maybe even 3 out of them. They are a good side, but then Sydney are a very good side as well. They've all got very good players. It would be really nice to do that to turn back into that side that's very difficult to beat, but can also score goals as well. And hopefully, I think we've only had 1 home win this season, so it'd be just really nice for the Wellington fans to be able to see us get a win, because it's been pretty bleak otherwise.
Yeah, the Wanderers have scored 4 goals in their last 3 games, so that's quite scary to come across. They have incredible attackers. They've got Milanovic, Sapsford, Barella's there as well doing the assists, and obviously BK ex-Knicks is probably going to have the game of his life as well. So, they're flying at the moment, and I think that they've got a really, really good run of momentum. 6 games unbeaten, so it is going to be tough. I think just because we've had 1 draw, I don't know if we can say we're going to come into this with a good chance. We're not going to have Alex Rufer. He's on his 5th yellow, so we're kind of almost back to what we were, maybe down a few people. So it'd be good to get some points, but they're also a really good squad, so hopefully we can get something from it.
How many cards is he on? Because won't I have pushed to
Nope, this was the last
8
game.
as well?
This was the game where that got. Next game would have been reset. So
Would have been
him
there.
and
Okay.
who did he fight?
Oh, right.
Yeah, they both
Yeah,
got.
we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, they both got yellows, and so that's both of their fifths. So they're both suspended for next game, and then the threshold increases now. Yeah,
I love that you're monitoring that, Erin. You've always got it. You've always got it sorted, and you always know what you're doing.
yeah, that's on the commentary though, so I could hear it. You guys wouldn't have had that at the stadium.
We didn't watch it. No, that's fair. That's fair. You should take the credit for it, though, Erin. You're doing your research. Let us have a quick chat about the international break. Huge games for the All Whites on, oh dear, Friday at Sky Stadium. We're playing Fiji at 17 p.m. New Zealand time. If we win that, we will be playing Monday, March 24th at Eden Park, 6 p.m. New Zealand time. I believe the potential opposition if we beat Fiji is Tahiti or New Caledonia. So I think if we win this, we're definitely going to the World Cup, which would be massive, a massive bump for football in New Zealand. Obviously, we're taking advantage of the expanded format of 48 teams. That's definitely helped us a lot. But we haven't been to the World Cup since 2010. And we've really only been a handful of times. So I don't want to say, oh, we'll definitely win. We should win. We should be stronger than these other teams. We have some fantastic players, not just from the A-League, but also like Chris Wood. Absolutely incredible. But these teams and the rest of OFC do keep improving as funds and resources come in. So thoughts on that? I believe, Erin, you are going to the final up in Eden Park.
Yes, I got tickets to the finals. I'm assuming New Zealand will make it, but I guess if we don't, then I'm going to be watching Fiji against Tahiti. But yeah, I think that, we should be winning this. OFC is, I think, a bit unfair for a country like New Zealand to come across some of these island nations, and it's been that way for a long time, ever since Australia left. And I think people would expect us to win this, and I think that if we don't win this, then I think it'll be a bit of a embarrassment for New Zealand football. And I don't see why we won't be able to win this. Chris Wood's one of the best strikers in the Premier League at the moment, one of the best strikers in the world. You'd expect that, we should be able to come through and do this. And get to the World Cup, which would be excellent. The stat that I saw the other day was that we haven't lost a World Cup match since 1982. So hopefully we can keep that record going. But I do expect us to beat Fiji, and then I expect us to win the game on Monday as well. But I guess, anything could happen.
Anything can happen, but this is about as close as a lock you can get to an international game. Let's be honest, it would be, if we lose this in either of the games, first or the second game, playing in New Zealand, then all the players should be taken out shot. And probably most of the fans as well. In fact, we should just give up, basically, as a nation. Fiji don't have Krishna. If they had Krishna, you'd think, well, he'd probably score. He's bound to score at Sky Stadium, right? But they don't even have Krishna, unfortunately. So, which is a shame, because I would love to have seen him play. They don't have people like Dan Hall, who's probably the next best Fijian player around. So their players are not professional players, and we have professional players and good players who are too good to play in the A-League. So, we should be winning this fairly comfortably. And again, no disrespect to Fiji. They will try hard, but if we don't win, it'll be a massive loss. Coming against Tahiti, New Caledonia, a better side, absolutely. We have to make sure that we take our chances that we'll create. But with Chris Wood, you would hope that, that's going to happen. Might be coming up against Josh Sotirio, who's just switched his allegiance to New Caledonia. So who knows? It'll be good to see him play. I haven't seen him play in a while. He didn't come off the bench for Sydney. He looks like that's going to be a bit of a bust move for him as well. But yeah, it would be fun to see him play New Zealand again for New Caledonia. But yeah, we're going to win this, right? And we're going to go to the World Cup, which is great. And yes, it's an expanded World Cup, which is stupid, but it's still a World Cup. And, I remember 2010, and that was, just so cool to go there and overachieve, and hopefully we can do that again in 2026. Now, we've just got to get over these bumps in the road, do the job properly, do it professionally, and yeah, then we'll be there.
If we play New Caledonia and Josh Soterio scores, and that means we have to go to the Interconfederation knockouts, I swear I would just, I don't know, burn Eden Park down. I don't know what I'd do, but that would honestly just be the death of me, I think.
And then we go and play Australia in the Intercontinental playoffs. That would be fun.
All right, well, heaps of really interesting and high-stakes football coming up. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.